Now, it's funny. I was actually quite excited for this movie when it was announced because I love the books, but I just finished watching it and I feel completely frustrated by this film. Like, my God. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today I'm going to be discussing Artemis Fowl. And if you guys are new here and you enjoy early movie reviews like this, or in general just love talking geeky content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, where I do tons of content like this over here on a daily basis, as well as comment down below and let me know your guys' thoughts. Are you guys excited for this movie? Are you not? Let's talk about it down below. Artemis Fowl is a young criminal prodigy who hunts down a secret society of fairies to find his missing father. Again, this is a movie that I was actually quite excited for. I was probably the only one in the world excited for this, besides fans of also the Artemis Fowl books. But I grew up with these books. This is a series that I said, how is this series not a live action series yet inside a movie or even a TV show franchise? And you know, another one like that is Fablehaven. I hope one day that we do get that, but please don't mess it up like you did with this one. Artemis Fowl is not a terrible movie. I think some of the reviews are a little bit too harsh on this film, but definitely I'm frustrated by this movie. I'm totally frustrated, and I'm just overall disappointed. I thought this could have been the next Harry Potter type world, and I think Disney had something. But in general, this kind of feels like what they do with the second Percy Jackson movie, and it just totally did not work really at all for me. But I can say this, and I'll give this a couple pros of this, because like I said, this isn't the worst film I've ever seen, but there are definitely many things that this film could have been so much better at. And again, the frustration of that really comes out in here. So first off, I think the visual effects, I think the world building in here is actually very great. The movie looks great. That is absolutely, you can see all the money on the screen. It looks beautiful. It looks fantastic. I love what Kenneth Branagh is able to do inside this world, and you can feel that. He did such a great job adapting the Thor comic and bringing it to live action. I think he does a decent job for the most part in this Artemis Fowl world and bringing it to life from the pages of the books, from the graphic novel, whichever one you've read, and bringing it to life inside the movie. And I think that's something that, again, I very much praise in here, because when this film started, I said, wow, this film is great. And I'll also say, this is a very fast-moving movie.
I mean, really fast, and at times that can be a con to it.
But on a surface level material, this is a fast-moving movie that has very breakneck editing. That, again, pros and cons to all of that nature that I will get into, but I do want to mention that. And I think, honestly, if I was 10 years old and I never read the book and I had no inkling towards it, I think this would be actually a lot of fun. And I think some people will find some fun in there, because this film is exciting at times. There are some great action set pieces in here that I'm like, dang, that's awesome. Give me more of that. And again, the mythology, the world building was all very well executed in here, but that doesn't make for a good movie. And that's where I get mostly frustrated, is especially when it comes down to the characters, the development, and even the development again, because the mythology and the world building's all there, but the development of it felt so abrupt at times, and in general just feels like it's just rushing through a story that didn't need to be rushed through. You could have taken your time with this and really set it up, and they just didn't. And coming as a book adaptation, I think a lot of the issues actually come down to the script, maybe even the editing, because I don't know what they left out on the table. I really don't. I have to imagine there was a longer cut of this movie, and someone came in and said, you gotta cut that. And I'm here to say that they really shouldn't have. This is a film that should have been at least the same length as the original Harry Potter film. Or in general, should have not have been a movie at all. It should have been a miniseries or a TV show. And I think that would have given the development that it needed. Because the characters in here are very one-dimensional. If anything, barely have any dialogue when it comes down to it. Because in the first book, I never saw Artemis Fowl as being the main character of that story. And I love that perspective, because even though he is technically supposed to be the main character, he is technically a villain to the first book, and as the series went on, he really became an anti-hero of some sorts, but that first book really portrayed him as a villain, and in this one, no, he's a criminal prodigy, but you never get the inkling that he is a villain. He's doing it for a reason that needs to be to save his father, but in the book, he's kind of just doing it for greed. And I thought the book was much more smart when it went into corruption and greed. And I think that is one of the big inklings that this movie is missing. And again, if you've never read the books, you wouldn't know that. but there's so much that's left that just makes this movie feel such like a surface level, and I just felt disappointed in the end of the day with this film. It sucks because I love Kenneth Branagh as a director, and I think he's a wonderful director at that, and I was expecting a lot more from this. And again, I have to believe that there was something going on behind the scenes, and I'm actually still willing to say if Disney wants to greenlight a live action or animated series on Disney Plus about these characters, I'm still in to kind of be invested into that, because this film still kept me entertained for the most part. It just felt like it was lacking so much. Like I mentioned, the editing, it's very fast-paced, makes for a very fast-paced movie, and there's pros and cons to that. You get a fast-moving movie that's only an hour and 35 minutes, which it should have been longer, like I already said, but then you also get moments where maybe the film should have taken its time in certain elements. There's some things where I'm like, wait, give me a second. I've read the book, but explain that a little better, man. Especially for people who have never read the books and don't understand what's going on. Actually, the performances in here actually are not that bad. Ferdy as Shay doesn't really get much to do as Artemis, but I actually was kind of iffy on him going into this film, but I walked out going, the kid's charismatic, and I would have liked a little bit more from him. Going even more, Laura McDonald, who plays Holly Short, is easily the best part about this movie. I think she gets the most depth, and even the most lines out of any of the characters, and she does a wonderful job in here. But when it comes down to the rest of the cast, Judi Dench is pretty much wasted. Colin Farrell in here is very much wasted, barely in the movie. And let me mention this, Josh Gad, I'm a big fan of him. Not in this movie. Don't know what he was doing. There's this weird narration with him that just, I don't know if it was just miscasted or if the narration was just off, but the voice he was doing just sounded like Olaf doing a deep voice and narrating the story to help you explain everything that's going on. I wish the film just didn't spoon feed me. I wish it actually just went into depth. It just feels, again, surface leveled, where it should have been so much more. And if you've read the books, you're gonna really understand that. Come on. I ended this movie and I went, it was entertaining for the most part, kept my attention, but I'm gonna forget about it. I'm gonna totally forget about it by tomorrow, and I walked out of this going, God, it was visually appealing, but what else is there to this movie? Before I give you guys my final thoughts on Artemis Fowl, make sure to get in a comment down below. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Have you guys read the books? Are you excited for the movie? Let's discuss it down below in the comment section, as well as hit that like and subscribe. And if you want to be a geek like me, if you want to keep talking movies and all sorts of geeky content, I want to discuss it with you guys. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as head on over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early. And of course, just a big thank you to you and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. From someone who is just a huge fan of the books, I grew up with them and always wanting this to be made into a series or a live action movie, and really, I just felt disappointed from this movie and frustration at many different levels. Again, the visuals, the world building, all that was pretty much great. And Kenneth Branagh did a decent job adapting that. But when it came overall to explaining the nature of this, to even having just a story, to developing these characters, and really getting into the niche of this world, it just was tonally not there. The editing was just all over the place. Very abrupt ending of certain scenes. Definitely not enough character development to really make me care about these characters. And yes, maybe I have a big issue with Artemis Fowl not actually being the villain. That's how the first book portrayed him, and really diving into the element of greed and corruption, and it never dealt even close to that. But, you know, even coming from that perspective, I can understand a character change for a movie. But even with the character development they were going for, I didn't really get it. I felt like a lot of the actors and actresses in here were just completely misused and were not needed. Overall, this film just lacks from just feeling a total surface level. I don't know what happened with this movie behind the scenes. I don't know if this was the initial plan or what. But this film is not exactly what I wanted it to be. There was so much more that it could have been, and it just became a total disappointment for me. This film is way too short for only an hour and a half. It feels like it's missing so many scenes, so many different things, and just nothing is fleshed out. Year-old me probably would have really liked this movie, but coming from someone who's 23 now, who really was looking forward to this movie, love Kenneth Branagh, pretty much really liked the cast, love the books, love this world, I just came out completely disappointed by it, frustrated at many levels, and in general, just looking at this movie at a surface level, again, entertaining, but just there could have been so much more. So with all that said, I'm going to give Artemis Fowl a D+. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on Artemis Fowl. Again, I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. It looks like a lot of critics are tearing this one apart, and I'm curious if you guys enjoyed this one at all, if you've read the books at all. Definitely, I kind of have weird hope that they do turn this into a TV series on Disney Plus, just like they're doing with the Percy Jackson. Like, redeem it, please. I mean, give these actors something else to do. They did a decent job. They just needed more material. It's completely frustrating with me. So thank you guys again so much for clicking on this video. You guys are seriously all the best. Look out for more movie reviews and other geeky content coming up soon. So of course, until next time, stay classy.